Clark County's Parks and Recreation Department is an award-winning department, one of the best in the country. We're honored today to be joined by the director, Jane Pike. How are you doing today, Jane?
Great, Randy. Thanks so much for coming out today.
All right, Jane, you told us to meet you at Sunset Park, and this doesn't look like Sunset Park to me. It's a little different area of Sunset Park.
It is. You know, Sunset Park, we acquired this parkland here in 1967, and for many years what you saw of this 325 acres was only partially developed, only 125 acres. And several years ago, we received funding from the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, and we were able to proceed with phase 1 of Sunset Park renovation. So what you're seeing here is a part of the 140 acres that is being developed.
Let's talk about this in a second, but I think, of course, everyone thinks of Sunset Park over there with, I mean, it's the central park of Las Vegas, basically. It's got the lake, it's got numerous sporting fields, the Frisbee disc golf. I mean, come on, it's the best park probably in the entire Southern Nevada.
Oh, absolutely, and what you see every year is you see it being the winner of the Las Vegas Review-Journal People's Choice Awards, and I think that's because it has so much to offer. Not only does it have the lake, as you mentioned, for fishing and a walking track around it, but it also has ball fields, sand volleyball. It has a variety of other amenities that you don't find in a number of parks. So it is one of the largest parks and one of the most popular with people, and I think this is even going to help expand that reputation even more.
And of course there's Renaissance Festival, and whether people, if they want to get together for a family cookout, join a softball team, play beach volleyball, Sunset Park's got it all.
Absolutely, and you know, we have reserved picnic areas. We see a lot of corporate picnics here and a lot of group gatherings, as you mentioned, family gatherings, and that seems to be even more important now that the economy has kind of turned down. We see people using the parks more and more.
We'll talk about that a little more. Well, show us phase 1.
Sure.
I think a lot of people have known this area of Sunset Park and probably used this area, but now you guys are sprucing it up and making it a little bit different. Talk about it.
Yeah, this area has been well used, especially by dog walkers in the past. It's one of the last remaining dunes, natural dunes area in the Las Vegas Valley, and so it's very important from an ecological perspective and a historical perspective. So what this phase does is allow us to put some trails, guided trails through here, so that people can walk without disturbing that dunes area, and also there'll be interpretive panels along the way as you see some of these rock and gables fixtures here that will tell about the history of this particular park, the flora, the fauna, and all the things that are available here to do.
Very cool. So that's what we'll see here, that there will be some explanations or some...
Yes.
Oh, okay. And how did you come up with the plan? What other types of things can we expect to see here?
Well, you're going to see a variety of picnic areas, expanded usage there. You're going to see some really creative playground areas as well, and then as well as the natural interpretive areas. And this plan was arrived at, we did a park master plan back in the year 2000, and we involved all aspects of the community. So we had community stakeholders involved as well as county representatives to talk about what should this look like, because this is one of our last chances to provide this type of regional park to the neighbors in this area. And so it was a joint effort, very collective.
Where did the funding come from? When do you expect people will physically be able to use this part of the park?
We anticipate the park being open, this new expanded portion being open by the end of the year, and then phase 2 construction is anticipated to start January, February of 2011.
What's phase 2 involved?
Phase 2 actually involves some of the developed areas that you already have, and as I mentioned, this park was developed in 1967, which is a relatively old park, and staff does a tremendous job of keeping this park looking as pristine as it does. But there are some areas that need some renovation, so there'll be some movement of some of our sports fields, there'll be some movement of the volleyball courts, some turf changes, as well as some areas for larger group rentals.
So Sunset Park just continues to evolve and get better, and you're going to get even more happier customers and maybe more customers.
Absolutely. Randy, as you can tell, we're going up into the overlook area, and this gives you a perspective of the entire park spread out amongst you. And way over to the south is where you're going to have the new expanded dog park area, and that's going to be a real jewel. As you know, people in Las Vegas really value the dog park areas, and we think that's going to attract a great deal of people. And as you can tell over this way to the north, we've got the remaining park, and that's the part that you're going to see expanded in phase 2.
This is the area where the Gift of Lights is, and close to the original dog park and everything like that, just to give people some perspective of where we are. And so basically then, Sunset Park will be hooked up all the way to your ball fields over on Windmill and Eastern?
It's actually Warm Springs and Eastern, and there's actually a developed trail that goes along Eastern right now that you'll see, and many people already use that.
I'm sure, again, this piece of desert has sat here forever, so like you say, you've just taken this piece of desert and gussied it up a little bit, and you think everyone is going to be happy with what has come out here?
You know, we've had really good public response. We've held a number of public meetings with stakeholders, with users of the park, with our disc golf users, with our field users, and I think everyone's pretty happy with the input that they provided and that we followed that.
Jane, how important are dog parks as part of the element of overall for Clark County's Parks and Recreation? We seem to have dog parks in pretty much every new park that we've been building lately.
We do. Probably the last 10 years is where we saw the influx of dog parks. That's kind of a national phenomenon where people really value their pets, and I think we see that on an industry-wide basis on the amount of money that people spend on their pets. It's very important. And in a place like Las Vegas and Clark County, where people sometimes live in relatively small parcels of land behind their homes, they don't have those opportunities to come out and have their dog run. But even more important than that is the socialization, the interaction between people. And I think that's what Parks and Recreation really has done for us, is tried to create a sense of community. You have people that coming to the dog park is their sense of community, and they come every day, or they come in many cases twice a day, and they meet people. So it's actually more about the people than the dogs, which is kind of interesting.
And the people, as you even touched on helping drive the design of this park, you always go to the community, you always have neighborhood meetings through the commissioners' liaisons and whatnot to help people design the parks. When you're bringing a park into a neighborhood, you want some input from the people that live there and the people that are going to use it, right?
Absolutely. That is so important to get that buy-in early on. And the difference between Sunset Park, because it is a regional park, not only did we get the input of the neighbors who are immediately surrounding this area, which what you would see in a neighborhood park, but we got the input of people that are park users, many who come 15, 20 miles to use the fields at Sunset, to use the sand volleyball courts, or to use the disc golf, which is an award-winning course as well. So we kind of got the input of the entire population on this one.
I think people fail to realize, first of all, how big Clark County is, and with it, how many parks and how many facilities you have, basically from Mesquite to Laughlin. How many facilities do you encompass?
You know, we have over 100 parks right now when you count the urban and rural areas, and they range anywhere from, just a couple acres on up to a regional park like this at 300 and some acres. And so it is a very important part of the community. The interesting thing about the community here is the community keeps changing, and it's a very diverse community, as you know. And it does make it sometimes challenging to receive that input that I talked about earlier, because the same people that gave input 5 years ago may not be the same residents that are still living in the valley. And you have new residents with new ideas. So we try to take that into account too. And our master plans are constantly changing to address those needs.
And again, when people think of Parks and Recreation, they think of a park or a baseball field. Mm-hmm. How about classes? I mean, we've been to Cora Coleman Center and to Hollywood and to, every place in town here. And this is a place where Parks and Recreation facilities are places where they come to work out, where they come to socialize, where they come to bring their friends and meet new friends.
Mm-hmm. This last quarter, we offered over 1,800 classes actually went, meaning we had registrants in all those classes throughout our Clark County facilities, which is a pretty amazing number when you think about it. And those range anywhere for the classes for the tiny tots all the way up to classes for older adults, and could encompass anything from a physical activity class, people want to be fit, they want to get out there, to classes that just promote socialization within the area.
I know you've also run a number of programs. There's Leaders of the Future program, as well as the Park Ambassador program. Talk a little bit about those, if you can.
Well, we have several different programs, and the Leaders of the Future program is an award-winning program as well that's offered in a variety of centers. And what that focuses on is taking young adults and providing them with the job skills necessary when they go out in the world, teaching them about recreation, leisure, teaching them about working with various populations, and so they are a great asset to our parks. We also have a number of volunteers, as you referenced, not only in our parks but also in our centers at the Wetlands Park and at our Clark County Shooting Park, that assist us with various day-to-day opportunities. And that's so critical to what we do, not only to have that input and to have that view of someone that's involved and passionate about what their community offers, but also in providing us with the much needed resource of having some additional help.
And the Wetlands Park, again, myself and the fellows have been out there many times. It's such an undiscovered gem. And what can you tell people about the Clark County Wetlands Park?
Well, the exciting thing about the Wetlands Park, it's been in development for many, many years, as you know, and we also received Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act funding for that particular project. And we're starting on the Nature Center, which is going to kind of anchor that whole location. It's going to provide the opportunity for visitors to come in, get some information and orientation about the park, provide interpretive materials so that when folks go out there to the wetlands, they're able to discern what they're seeing, what kind of flora, what kind of fauna, the importance of the Las Vegas wash to the valley and to maintaining the masses that we have here. So it's going to be pretty exciting when that comes on board.
Jane, the economy obviously has affected the number of parks we can build, but the existing ones and the classes and everything like that, I think you found that people are actually using our facilities a lot more often these days, probably, right?
Yes, because it's one of the low-cost, no-cost alternatives that people have nowadays, whereas before people may have gone or gravitated towards a private type of function or gone on vacation, we find more and more people are using the parks for their socialization and for their outlet. And that's a really good thing, because I think one of the things that this economic downturn has done, well, it's terrible and the effects have been bad, the unexpected consequence have been we're seeing more people get outside, more people take advantage of nature and being outside doing something physical. And I think that's a really positive thing, a trend we need to continue to promote.
Well, Jane, we've seen some of your workers here finishing this up. What is the time frame expected for phase 1 to be completed approximately?
Approximately by the end of the year. We're looking at November, December for substantial completion.
Well, we sure appreciate you showing us this fabulous area of Sunset Park. I know it's going to be amazingly successful.
Right, we're looking forward to having the public come out and join us.
All right, thank you, Jane.
Thank you so much.
All right. If you want any more information on the fabulous work, facilities, events, classes, anything that's going on in Clark County's Parks and Recreation, give them a call at 455-8200.